today I have released the Web API template version 2.04. Okay, this is should be the stable version. Okay, I have tested the database because in this version the most important is the database support. Okay, I have tested with SQLite and MySQL. Okay, the other library such as the Web API utility, Web API controller, and minimalist utility, all updated to the stable version. And the Web API controller, this is a library where I used previously to generate a template or class for the API. And then after that, I create a minimalist for version 2. Then when B4J version 10.0 comes out, where we can put in snippets, good snippets into the library, then I come back to this Web API controller and remove the Web API, the minimalist controller. So this is a redundant library. So now for this version, I will be using Web API controller, which I have abandoned before, but now it's back. Okay. So the most important, as I mentioned, is the database support, and then I also add in a build standard package support. Okay, from here maybe it's difficult to see. Let's open the project and see what is all these features about. Okay, I have this version already created. If you haven't created any project, you need to go to the first page. Okay, how can I use this library or template? You need to go to this web project template Web API tool. Inside the B4J share your creation, you can look for this project. Okay, when you come inside this post, you need to download all the library or files inside the attachment and then put inside your B4J additional library. Okay, as you see, all the library you need to put inside the additional library. You can see for all the library, except for this minimalist utility, you can put it inside your B4X folder. Okay. For the minimalist, this is not internal. You open the additional library folder. Okay, then you come to this B4X additional. Inside here, we have B4J and B4X folder. For the minimalist, okay, the minimalist is a B4X library where actually you can use it for your B4A and B4I project. I hope so. And for the mini ORM utility, also you can put it inside your B4X additional folder. Okay, inside the default template, I don't check the mini ORM utility because this is an optional library, but you can check it. After you check it, you can see the minimalist and mini ORM utility falls under B4X platform. Okay, I I think that the mini ORM utility can be used for your B4J, B4A, and B4I project. I haven't tested for the B4I, but I have added some code to handle the B4I code, B4I section, because the mini ORM is using a Java object library for B4J. So for B4I, we cannot use the Java object. So I use the DB utility to handle the B4I section. So hopefully you may haven't tried, maybe in the future I will try to use this mini ORM utility. Okay, the mini ORM utility, you can check it over here. It's an optional library. You can download from here and then put inside your project or inside your web API template project. Okay. So as I said, the mini ORM, come back to mini ORM again. I have made a new post in the mini ORM thread. Okay, it's a B4X class for building SQL queries. It works with the web API server template version 2.04. It should reduce the number of code for your web API. Later I will show you the code for the database section. Okay, compared to the mini code generated by the mini ORM. What are the different? Okay, for now I just uncheck this one because I don't use it for now. Okay, after you have copied the minimalist utility and mini ORM utility, if you have downloaded this, you need to put inside your B4X additional folder. Okay, and then in the B4J folder, you need to put in your web API utility, this one, and the template itself. Okay, the template is the main template, project template, and also the web API controller. Okay, web API controller is a JAR and XML file. Okay, you need to download and put it this file into your it's in the first post. Okay, from the first post, the web API controller is a JAR and XML files, two files you need to put in. So total you need to have 1, 2, 3, 4. This one 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 files you need to put it inside here. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 files you need to put inside your B4J. And for the minimalist and also the mini ORM, you need to put it inside B4X. Okay. And I also have this encryption utility, but this encryption utility is not used for now. It is used inside the, for example, in the help handler. Okay, inside the help handler, there is the section for the session management. Okay, if you enable the session, which is over here, if you in the template main section, you go for the configure session. If session is enabled, okay, you go to the top. Over here by default, the session is disabled. Okay, the session is false, it's disabled. If you enable this one, then you need to add in this hasher, which is encryption utility. I haven't shared this one, maybe in the future. It's just a hasher to generate a random string for your CSRF token. Maybe I will share this encryption utility library in the future. Okay, for now, for this web API, I don't use any session, so this one is not required for this API. Okay, you can uncheck this one. So you need to check key value store is checked, web API utility is checked. See, right, say my sound volume is very low, is it? What happened to my mic? How to check my mic? Is this Windows? I don't know how to use this Windows 11. Very volume. Where's mic? Mic should be over here. Okay, I put to the maximum. Is it better now, the volume? Checking. I think should be okay. The OBS show the volume is in the green area. Okay, I try to voice up my voice. Okay. If you can hear, can you send one in the chat message? Okay, I type in message. Is the voice better now? Type 1. Yes. 2, 4, no. Okay, just quick explanation for this one, and then I will back to the feature list in this post. Okay, I have explained is now support for SQLite and MySQL database. Okay, it support build standalone package. I don't know why you need this, but I saw some member they try to build a standalone package for B4J server app. So I include this feature. As you can see inside here on the top of the main page, main module, you will see this section is for building the standalone package. Okay, you can deploy the standalone package in the exe. You can click the run debug BAT to run the project. But by default, I think for if you change the project compilation to release or release of Fastgated is sufficient. You don't need to build the standalone package. This one is not required, but I put in this section for you if you really want to create a standalone package. Okay, so after the package, you also copy the static folder. Okay, so it's just for the package, standalone package. So and then I also have additional JDBC connector is selected by selecting build configuration during debug. Okay, I put this one, you see, in debug. Under debug, if it's a minimalist, no additional library is required. So by default, is SQLite. So it will support the additional library for you. Okay, let's say you want to change to, let's say, MySQL, then if you select the additional library for MySQL for you, and for other like SQL Server, Postgres, Firebird, if you have, or DBF, or you can select no database. So for no database, this one is not selected. So it's only for SQLite and MySQL. Okay, during the debug. During the release, you can enable any library you like. Let's say you want to build this project using the SQLite, you can deploy the project, the server for support for both database driver. So let's say you build this SQLite and then you deploy the JAR to your server, your hosting server, and then later on in the future you want to use MySQL. Because you put in these two additional library, you just need to change the config file. Okay, you just need to go to the config file and then change the setting. Okay, I open it using Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's say you during the release version you choose SQLite, then the config you need to enable this config. Okay, later on in the future you want to use MySQL, you need to comment this SQLite. You press Control question mark or Control / then you disable this one, this setting for you, and then you need to enable, press Control / then you enable this part for the config ini file, and then put inside your object or file directory app, okay, or in the bin folder. If you use the build standalone package, is inside the bin folder, inside the /temp /build inside the bin folder, where you find the config ini file. Okay, you open the file and then you save this setting, then you will load the MySQL setting. Okay, this is during the release or during the production. Okay, for this sample, we just leave it for default is using the SQLite. Okay, I close this one first. I explain all the feature first. Okay, this is I already explained, and then the configure server sub. Now in old version, okay, I try to open the older version. In Web API server before is the 2.03. Okay, try to open older version. In 2.03, the config, no, in the main, in configure server, okay, you need to use the command. Okay, this one is mandatory. You cannot comment this one. Let's say you want to enable SSL, you need to uncomment it. If you want to configure port, you need to uncomment it. Okay, in version 2.04, you no longer need to use the command. You can pass in. Okay, for configure SSL, you pass in. Let's say you want to enable the configure SSL, you need just to pass the true parameter, okay, or false. So the rest also same. You want to enable course, then you put true. If you want to disable, then you just put false. Okay. And for database, let's say if you don't want to configure your database, let's say you choose minimalist, it also not loading this one. Or if you, it should be enabled, always enable if you select your SQLite or other database, so you don't disable the configure database, because a lot of setting need to be loaded for this template to work. Okay, let's say configure response is for, by default is false, means it's using the standard format. If you set it to true, then it will load the simple response format. Okay, what is this format? This is explained over here. If you enable this one, you can use the list or map. Later, maybe I will show it to you later. For standard, if you don't enable this one is disabled. It will show the standard format using this key for the JSON response. Okay, so back to here. So for this version, I also utilize the code snippet in B4J version 10. Okay, now we can use the code snippets to generate some code template for you. Let's say in this controller, I can type route, or I can type the code. Then you can see a lot of code snippet available for you to use. Okay, let's say you want to use this is a minimalist utility. Okay, you want to use this default push, then you just press enter, then you create a route push for you. Okay, then you need a push controller. Push, let's say this is a test control, then you need to type at the highlighter, you need to press this one. Okay, to create this push, you can key in this push resource. Okay, this one is for the minimalist push resource. Okay, so for the highlighted, this one I need to edit this one. So you see this controller, later it will be override. Test, then I press enter, then this is for the minimalist. Then the test, the controller will be replaced with the test. Okay, this is the code snippet feature. Okay, this is available in B4J version 10. Okay, you can very fast, quickly generate the code for you. Okay, this is a code snippet. Database connector. This is a connector module. Actually, is based on the JRDC connector module or class. I think it's a class. Okay, it is used for initialize the connection property, the connection setting, and then open the connection pool or return the SQLite database. And then you can use it inside your controller class. Okay, let's say in category controller, if I go to get categories, then if I choose SQLite, the data DB connector, this is the database connector. Okay, when I use the DB open, it will pass the open connected database pass to the SQL object, and then you can use this object to execute our SQL query. Okay, this is the database connector class. Okay, and then I also add in this seed data for minimalist. You can check seed data. Okay, it's available for minimalist. If you want to use minimalist, it's also available. It's just create a map and then pass this map into the category list and product list. This is a minimalist for if you want to use the minimalist library. So as you know, if you know before you're familiar with minimalist, is the library using you can use the key value store to store the list inside a key value store. Okay, you can store your data using the key value store library. Okay, this is about the minimalist. Used to insert default data to the minimalist. Okay, let's say this is the folder. This is the KVS key value store. Okay, let's say I delete all the data. Okay, I use debug, and then I run the project. You should create a kvs.dat file in your object, your application folder. Okay, you see it creates a kvs.dat file when you set the key value store enable. And for the starting, the KVS is empty. If you browse the project, see this is empty. Category and product are empty. To insert the data, you need to seed the data. Okay, you need to type the question mark followed by SEED =1. You press enter, then you will insert the dummy data for you. Okay, so this is about the seed feature. Okay, this is about the minimalist seed data to insert dummy data. Okay, then the configure response. This one is for this one when you use the simple response format, let's say to using map, and it should create a map data. But this one you need to enable first. Stop it. Okay. Configure, yeah, is set to true. Means if you go to this help, if you go to the help page, you see this is the data key. You can change this if you want to use a different key because it return a map. Okay, if you change it to list, we don't have key in the list, so we don't need to set this one. Okay, for list, let's say this is a categories, it should be a list, right? So for the list, if you refresh again, for list we don't have any key, okay, for all the data. But for when you use map, then you can use the key is data. If you want to use other different keys such as result, okay, then the map will be created with the result key. Okay, you can change this key. But let's say if you use list, then it won't have any key, so this is not applied. But if you set it to auto, okay, auto means if this is category is a list, then you will use list. It won't create this. If you set map or list, it will force the format. It force the format to appear. Okay. Let's say this is a categories. It should list out all the categories. So it is a list. Start with a square bracket. This is the list. Okay. If for the get category, you need to pass in, let's say 3, cannot found, 2. So it's a map with curly bracket. It's object. It's a JSON object or map. Okay, compared to this one, this is a square bracket. Start with square bracket. This one is a start with a curly bracket. Okay, this one is a curly bracket. This is a map. And for this one, categories, this read all categories. This is a list. Start with square bracket. Okay. So this is about the configure response. You can specify the key for the data key for the format if it's a map. Okay. Any questions so far? If you have any question, you are welcome to type in the chat section. I will answer to you shortly. Okay. So this is about this one. If you set this, if you don't want to use auto, all the response will return as a list or map. Okay, this is to force it convert. If the data is a map, it will convert it into a list. Okay, if data is a list, let's say all the categories, it will convert it into a map with the data as the key. So data you can change it to other keywords such as result. Okay, you specify it over here. Okay, so by default it's data. If you don't set it, if it says empty, the template also will set give a key data as the key by default. So you can also leave it to empty. It still should be function. Okay, come back here. It's still by default I use the data as the key. Okay, this is a list but put it inside a map. For the map is a map. Okay, so this is about the simple response. If you don't want to use the simple response, let's say you put this as false or you disable this by passing a false, okay, then if you show the standard format with a MESRA key inside the JSON response, okay, for example, I click submit. If you show this format, okay, M is a message, this is an error, this is status message, yes, and then this is the response data or result, and then A is the status code. This is the standard format. If you set this as a false, simple response as false, means it's not using a simple response. Okay, if you set is true, then you don't see this short form key or abbreviated key. Okay, so this is about it, the configure response. Okay, and then for the JavaScript, since the response are different, to ensure the web front end can support different JSON response. Okay, you see, let's say this is a standard format. If let's say I use a false, okay, if you refresh, is it working? Refresh, it's not working. Why? Simple response to it should be true. Let's say set to true. Okay, so in order different kind of JSON response, or let's say you change it to list. For list, this is another different format, right? So all this API will be changed, will be different. Okay, if you refresh, you see the format will be different. How the front end handle this different, you see, is like not working right. You need to refresh because the JavaScript has been changed. How I achieve this? If you click the source, I'm loading a web API search dash simple. This one is to support the simple format. Okay, this is a simple format. Okay, if let's say I use the if I change it to false, okay, this is a standard format. Then you take note on this one. If I refresh the source code, you see it's loading different JavaScript. So if you check the project, folder inside www asset JavaScript. Okay, I put in 3 different type of JavaScript to handle different type of AJAX call to the API, so it can handle different type of response. Okay, it's now support the simple format or the standard format JSON response for the front end. Okay, when you develop the front end, you need to take care of the JSON response. Okay, maybe you are not very familiar with the JavaScript, then never mind. But for this API template, the API search is used for the index page. This one, where I use this one for the search. Okay, this JavaScript is loaded from the asset JavaScript folder. Okay, over here, and the template can select which JavaScript to use when the format has been changed in the setting inside the project. If you change this simple response format, okay, it's up to you. You want to use true or false, it still work for you. But I prefer, because if you use this list, when you go to this one is the list. Okay, for the single item, we also include force it convert to a list. So if you want to use auto, okay, you either enable this one, or this one. You cannot enable all. You the last one. So if let's say I use auto, then there is no conversion. Okay, meaning for the categories, it should be used list, then it is returned as a list. For this single item, it should be a map, then it's just use a map without putting it inside a square bracket. Okay, the project has restart. Okay, so if we check this one is a they need to refresh, yeah, because the JavaScript source code is not refreshed. So this is a list format, and for this single item, is a map format. Okay, sometimes you need to refresh for the source code. You see the source code need to refresh at the end. Need to use different kind of format to handle the Ajax. Okay, so you need to refresh if you change any setting. So this is about the response format and the JavaScript. So, and then this return API response sub, this is a new sub to simplify the response. Okay, let's say for category, I have this return API response. In previous version, it looked like this. Let's say in category, or in previous version, I don't have categories. But for return the response, I need to use the format like this. Like return back request or return one data, get one data, something like this. At the end, I need to use this to handle. It's a bit every time I need to duplicate this one, Okay, it's quite troublesome if I want to keep response different handling for the response. So in the new version, I just create this up, and then every time I want to return the response, I just need to call the return API response. Okay, I need to pass the response code, the data as a list or object. Then I use the return API response. Okay, for get categories, for get category, so same at the end, I need to pass the return API response. So this is a common method that you can reuse for all the sub. Okay, because every time you create the sub, you need to return the API response as a JSON format. Okay, this is all the new feature. Actually, there are a lot of features and then a lot of bug fix. I think my previous live streaming, I shows the project shows some error with the simple format. So now I think it should be fixed. And then I have debug element. When the project runs start in the debug mode, you can see the item over here. Okay, you can show the index. So from here, you know what is the index. The web controller index is 2. This is path 1, 2. This is the web controller index. API is the API version index. 3 is the version index, and API controller is 4. So API controller index is, for example, categories. This category is the controller index. Okay, controller index. Okay, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is the version. Controller is 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, controller is 4. And if for this single item, the ID is 5. See, 0, this is a 0 root. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for this one, the ID is index 5. But this one will be handled automatically by the template, project template. Okay, so you don't need to bother the index. So when you develop the API, you just need to make sure the top index is the controller. You assume the controller is the top index or 0. Okay, you can assume that you start from 0 index, and then after the controller is the first index for the ID. Okay, then the element is ID. ID is the element is the value like 1, 2, 3. This is just the position of the index. Okay, this is the ID is this one is the element. String value is the element, but the index is 5. Okay, this 2 is the ID, is the index 5. The index is 5, but if we pass the value, let's say 1, 2, 3, this is the value of the string is the element. Okay, the element. Okay, this is about the index. Time zone already removed. I don't use time zone. Last time I have a US based VPS, so I use time zone because the time zone different. So now my VPS is in Singapore, having the same time zone, so I don't put in the time zone for my server. Okay, data controller in version 2.03, you have this data controller, but in version 2.04, in the new version, I don't no longer need a default controller. I can create any controller by using the web API controller. Okay, I can use this controller. Let's say I want to create a data controller. Let's say here I don't have create data controller. I want to create a new controller called data controller. Okay, I press OK. Then you create a data controller for you with the empty template. Okay, so you see return API response as a default, and then you have this method like get, post, put for you. So you don't need a default template. You can anytime you can create a new template, a new controller from this library using the web API controller. Okay, you can also create a web controller, but this web controller is just HTML. The purpose should be show HTML. Let's say you want to create a about controller. You just want to display the HTML page, output HTML, but you don't want to generate any API. Okay, we just create one controller. So inside here, I have this method called show, and then I load the index HTML inside the file. Okay, you can create a HTML file and put inside your file folder or asset folder. Okay, you save the file inside here, then you can load the file over here. Let's say you have this about HTML. Okay, you create. Let's say I duplicate this index, then I rename it to about. Okay, let's say I generate open the page, the file. This is index. Let's say I change. What is this new product? Let's say I change the table button search. Where should I put? Keyword search. Let's say I put. Let's say I put a H1 tag over here. About, let's say about me. Okay, let's say I save this file, stop this project and run again. It should show the about controller. Okay, before that, I think this one also not required. This one not required. The script is not required. But we need to add the after we create controller, we need to register it in the because this is a web controller. I need to go to the web handler, not web handler, the web is it web handler? Yeah, web handler. I think over here I need to duplicate this one and change this. This is a controller. Let's say about. This is a new controller called about controller. So this about controller I need to initialize. Do I need to initialize? Yeah, I need to initialize, and then I need to use this dot show. So this dot show will call this show to load the about HTML. Okay, we try to run. It's not refresh. I didn't refresh or sync the file. This one is not used. Never mind. So over here I have new controller called about. So you see, this is the HTML, and you see the script over here. It show over here. So for this one, about controller, I think I need to pass in this like this, or you want to pass in an empty like this. Move this one. So you pass the script as an empty, so this one will show. Okay, we refresh. We remove the script tag over here. You can edit the about this page. How you edit this one is up to you. Or you can delete this one, delete all this one. Just like this. Okay, it shows this about me. So this is about the HTML page. Okay. Say like this. Then it will show the HTML. Okay, so this is about the controller. You can create controller from here. This controller, if you don't see, you need to add in the web API controller, the JR and the XML file. From the first post, you need to download the file, the library. Okay. So then we move on. What else? All controller response. Okay, I think all the features I already explained. Okay, we can run this one. Currently, this project is using a minimalist. Okay, for version 2.03, it only support minimalist. Okay, it only support minimalist. It cannot support database. If you want to use database, you need to write your own, and it's quite difficult. You don't have data controller over here that you can use. Okay, this is for version 2.03. Okay, so in this version, in today's version 2.04, now you can use the data controller to create. Okay, you can use this data controller to generate the SQL query for you. There's another mini ORM which maybe I will explain or discuss in the future, but for now we just use the plain SQL query based on the SQL tutorial. Okay, so for this one, close all the unused one. Okay, from here you can see the main is the category controller, and then I have product controller, I have index controller. Okay, I also have file controller. This data controller is I created just now using the template. Okay, I can remove it. About controller also I can remove it. Just now I created. So the main is this test controller also I create for testing. It's not required. So for this template comes for you with this 4 controller as a sample for you to see how the template works. Okay, if you can also start from scratch, or like just now the data controller. Data controller. Okay, I add it back. This data controller is an empty controller. If let's say you want to add in new code inside here, it's easy. Let's say for this one, if for route get, you enable this one. How to generate this one is using this web API utilities get route. So to generate this route get, you type route, route route get, get is this one, route get, double click, then you create the route get for you. Okay, so this is the route get, so it's no more error. Okay, and then the highlighted controller, this is the data controller, the controller name is data, so I need to rename this to data or datas. So when I press enter, then this one also change to data. But for data, you may want to create a plural for all. This is the like get categories. Okay, this is for plural. This is like for like slash data. This is API. This one get single data. It's like for slash data one. Okay. So this is for the get method. So if you want to create a post method, okay, let's say you uncomment this one. This is red color because this sub is not created yet. So to create this one, you can type post minimalist or web API. This post. Use this one because or if you want to use minimalist, you can use the minimalist, but this is the default. This is the default one, I think. Then you use this one. Route post. This is the route post. Okay, this is red color. If you want to generate this one, how we can create? For now, we can generate for minimalist. Okay, data, not data. This is let's say for post. This is for post method, so I use a post resource for this one. This one post resource should be this one, the first one, 03. Okay, then I need to put this one data, and then the minimalist need to use data. Okay, so it will generate the sub for you, and then the post data. Just now this one is red color, now no longer red color, so it's not available. But this data list is a new minimalist you need to create in the main module. Okay, you need to add in over minimalist, you need to add a new minimalist over here. Okay, this test list, I think just now I created for testing. So you need to create a new data list and configure minimalist. Okay, you need to initialize it over here, configure for key value store. This one you need to add in over here, configure minimalist. You need to add the minimalist. Okay, and right over here for the key value store, to load the value from the key value store, you need to add this code. Okay, or you can copy and paste over here. Okay, so in the JVS file, okay, if you open it using the SQL DB browser, you see this is the minimalist, the key and the value. Okay, let's say if I data controller is an API controller. I also need to put in into the API handler. Okay, so for this one, I need to change this to data. Data controller. I need to initialize it and route the API. Okay, route API. Okay, everything seems okay. For the get, it's not yet. So this is how to get the how I create the sub or method. But for now, we just let's say I comment it this one. Let's try to run the project and we want to initialize the project. This one, I just now remove the about controller. Okay. So I just want to show you that the data minimalist will be added over here. If you use minimalist. Okay, if I refresh, oh, still not yet. Can I try to access data? Not showing anything. Oh yeah, I think I need to use the data API. I need to create a get. I cannot do like this. I need to create a get. Route get, I need to create this get data and this get data. So how to create this get data for minimalist? Get all resource. Okay, I think at least I need this get data. Or let's say we also wait for the get single also. Okay, let's try again. This is for minimalist. Later we check the SQLite, see the difference. Okay. Oh, I see now we show the square bracket. Meaning is initialized already. So if we refresh the KVS, oh, it's still not added. Do I make any mistake? Why is not showing the data list? Main KVS data list. Post data. Oh, I think I need to at least save one data. Over here, I don't have the data controller for me to test, so I need to enable configure controllers. Okay, let's change this to data controller. So I need to add at least one item to add in this into the key value store. Refresh. Okay, now I have this post. Let's say any value, this using this sample value. Bad request. Oh, is it the data? Yeah, the data. No wonder the route is not correct. I need you to use data or datas. Or you can put it like this datas. Never mind. We just leave it to data, and then for the control, we need to use this one data for the plural. This one also singular, and this one also singular. So because this one is not correct, the path is not correct. So we refresh. Now the path is correct. Okay, now it's correct. Let's refresh. Okay, we try to add in at least one item. Okay, we have one item already. Refresh. Yeah, now we have the data list or the minimal list is put inside this KVS data. Okay, this is the KVS data. So now we haven't started to use the SQL database. We only use the key value store. This is how the version 2 initially how it works. But in version 2.04 we can easily use the SQLite to build our web API. Okay, so we try to use this data controller for our demo. Okay, now since it's SQLite, we choose the SQLite. Now you will notice in the main, the additional library selected is the SQLite JDBC library selected after we select this SQLite. Okay, and then make sure we have the configure database set to true. Okay, now the minimalist is no longer loaded. Okay, let's check this up. Go to this controller. You can check from here. We need to pass the value of the database connection property from the config file. This config map is we load the config file, which means this config.ini file. Okay, we need to make sure our SQLite setting is defined over here. So the file is web API 2. Okay, make sure the file DB file and the JDBC URL is the same. Let's say I can use different name. Let's say for this one I put in demo. This one is demo. Okay, if let's say if you use this format of JDBC URL, this file will be saved into the object folder. This will create a file over here. If you want to put in different location, then you have to change to this one. You need to put in the path of the location of your file, DB file. Okay, for this demo, I just put in over here. Okay, inside the objects folder. When I run the project, it should create a demo.db file into this one. Should create an SQLite database over here. Okay, we press Ctrl S to save this config.ini file, and then we try to run the project. We have some warning over here. Okay, this one not loaded. Okay, because here we don't use, because now previous we use minimalist. For here we need to insert some SQL put over here to use it. But for this one, to hide the warning, we just put this one. We return the API response. Okay, maybe it will be an empty one. Okay, never mind. We just leave empty. Get data. Okay, and then for post data, we also put in the response. ID is not used, or maybe for this get data ID we use HRM to pass response code. We just put 200 and then to make it success without showing any error. And then this is we use a response object to pass the map. We can pass a map like this. Let's say ID equals to ID. Okay, if we get this ID, we will return a map called map with the ID and the ID number. Okay, because now I don't want to load the database. Just this one is just for simple demo. Okay, and then this one we leave it as an empty response, but we need to pass the response code as 200 to show the success. We don't want to show error. We want to show the good success. For this one, let's say if we post data also, we just response to 200. Okay, never mind. Just for simple demo. Okay, we try to run and see is there any error. Okay, you see SQLite database not found, so it will create a database for us. And then after that, the database is created successfully. Now we check the objects folder. We should find we have this demo.db. Okay, just now we define this file named demo.db. So this is the SQL database in WoW. Okay, you can open it using the SQLDB browser. You see, we have two tables, category tables. Okay, with dummy data and then the product with the created just now. Okay, so now this web API project is no longer using minimalist but using the SQLite. Okay, we can delete the KVS data. Okay, so the project is still loading because now we are loading the data from our SQLite database. Okay, so if we did this toys to put kids toys, let's say updated, we go back here is show kids toys as the category. So if we open the database demo, the category is now updated to kids toys. Okay, so this is how we connect to the SQL database. This data is not yet we cannot do any CRUD because we haven't entered any code for the CRUD. So for this for the category and the product, we can check the code over here. Okay, get categories. Now it's not using minimalist, so this one is gray out. So if not using minimalist, then it will load this section. So now we are using the SQL query, using the database connector to connect to the database and load the result set. We transform it into map and then add it into a list, and then we display it to using the HRM HTTP response message, pass it to the return API response. Okay, the return API response is this one. View response out as a JSON format. Okay, this is how we can connect to the database. First, we need to create an SQL object. I name it con or connection. Then I need to use a SQL query, pass this query to the connection and use the execute query to query the database. Okay, after we query the database, we use the do while to loop the result set. We use the map, pass to a map. We put the key as with the column name and the value. If let's say it's an ID, we use the ID, get integer and pass to the ID. If other column name, let's say category name, then we will pass using the get string. So what we get is this one. We have the ID with the integer and then the category name. This field is timestamp is added I mean is default by default. When we generate the dummy database, we create a created date default with the default value. So created date, modified date, deleted date, this one is inside the database. Okay, if you check. The created date, modified date, and deleted date. Okay, product also same. We also have the created date column, modified date, and deleted date. Okay, just now we modify the record, so we have the modified date. Okay, when we use the put method just now to update the category. Okay, this is the SQLite. We put during the put, we need to also modify the modified date, update the TBI category, and we need to pass the modified date. Okay, modified date. This modified date is added over here. Okay, the modified date, I can use this current date time from my API utility. It will get the current date time and pass to the modified date to the map, and then when we insert the data, we pass this value from the map into this one. We need to pass 3 parameter, category name, modify date, and the ID. So we need to pass this one, modify date, and then the ID of the data that we want to update. And then after the update, we query the data again by passing the ID. Then the map will be returned as a response object. Okay, this is a single data. Okay, the category we use this put to update, right? Okay, for the kids toys just now. Let's say we change back to I don't want to put what not adult toys. We need to put, let's say, children toy. Okay, we click submit. We need to pass the, what is the ID just now? 2, right? ID 2 is his toys. Okay, we can use this one. We pass 2. Make sure it's the right record that we want to update. So the ID is 2. We need to pass 2 the put method. Okay, so after the update, it will update the modified date also, and the category also updated. Okay, this one kids toys already updated. Okay, so how we update? We need to write all this code. Okay, we need to handle the data, but we can use this request data from the post from the user map. Then we pass. This is the body. I can say this is the body. We pass the body over here. When we click submit, it create this front end. We call the API using Ajax, jQuery Ajax. But in the B4X API client, you can use HTTP utility. So after the data is passed to the server, this web API utility will read the request and convert it into a map. Okay, then we can read the map using this data variable. Let's say we need to do some error handler. Okay, if we don't pass anything, it will show error invalid JSON object. Let's say for this put. Okay, for this put, the blue color one, let's say I don't put this empty. Then it will show a bad request. Invalid JSON object. Put category. It should show some correct error. The error is not. Oh, I think because we use the simple format, right? Yes, we use simple format. Let me check. Are we using simple format? Yeah, we are using simple format. For simple format, just to let you know, for simple format, we cannot show the customized error message. Okay, because you see for the simple format, we don't have the ARSME key, so we cannot show the message. So if let's say we change to the standard format, then it's more meaningful for you. Okay, this one is auto. We don't want to configure this one. Or we set this to false. Okay, we should use this one to set to false. We don't want to change the code inside the sub. We just change the code in the configure server. Okay, we restart the project. Okay, let it run. So you need this kind of a standard format to show the error message if we don't put in the body. Let's say we click submit. You see it show this invalid JSON object. Okay, so it won't show the bad what bad response or bad request. Yeah. Okay. Try to run again. I think the JavaScript is not refreshed. Yeah, I see. It should show like this. It should not show all the item because now it should load the correct JavaScript. Okay. For this one, I think also some problem. We should not show this one. This should not show as a list. It should be shown as an object. So for this one, we should not use response data. We should use response object. Correct. It should show response object. Oh, we should not use this initialize. We should remove this one. This is an old. We should not initialize it. If we initialize it, then this one will show. Okay, I think this is an old source code. Never mind, I will update this template later. I will check this one. Okay, now let me see. We should show this list format. Okay. So this is how we execute. We check the error first. We handle the error. If let's say the body is not correct, not in the correct form, then we need to handle it. We set the default value for the modified date. Okay. We need to find whether this category name is conflict or not. Let's say we try to create or update another database. Let's say I have this hardware in ID1 and then children toy in ID2. Let's say I want to update this ID2 children toy to hardware. Okay, I put in this children toy. I want to update this children toy by right. This is children toy. This children toy I want to update to hardware. So I will have two redundant or duplicate data with the name category name hardware. Is it possible? We try to update. See, category name already exists. Means we check it whether the name already exists or not. If it exists, then we don't want to allow the user to update it, to override another item. Okay, will not allow category the same category name. If we put hardware, click submit, yeah, it allow me to update the data. Okay, one is hardware, I cannot update, I can put in hardware. Go back here, you see hardware and hardware. Better I update it back to toys. Okay, which how come it's still showing hardware? Oh no, I cannot update over here. I need to update over here. Sorry, this is the body. Submit. I cannot edit here and click submit. I need to edit here. Sorry. Uh, okay, now back to toys. So, any question? See if the ID is not correct, also we not allowed to update. So, see we have two item right, so we don't have ID 3. Let's say we try to update it to ID 3. We try to add in ID 3 or let's say 300. Okay, we put test and we click submit. See, category not found. The ID is not found, 300 is not found. Again, showing this one, I don't. This is invalid. JSON. Okay, I think it's a response. This one again. Don't never initialize it, the object. Otherwise, it will return wrong JSON format. Okay. Okay. So delete. Let's say we try to delete 400. Category not found. Then why is using a list? Okay, we need to check. Delete category. Here, category not found. Show error message. Oh, because you see, this is I cast intentionally put the object as a category not found over here. If let's say I don't want to initialize the object, okay, I click here, so not found. Category not found. Small error. Why is not showing object? Response, HLM response. It should show as a this is a product, no, this one. 600. Category not found. Yeah, is it because but this one is a map, right? What happened? Response false. Oh yeah. For the standard format, every response will be returned as this. Okay. No matter what, only the simple format, then you can customize the format. So all the time you just fix it. The API will read the response as a list. So you pass it. If let's say this is a single item, if you just read the first item from the list as a map. Okay, I think this is for backward compatibility for the web API client app. Okay, so you also can change it to auto return as a format, or set the simple customize the response as a simple response. Simple response to true and auto. Hmm. Play with this simple response thing. Okay. Page is it because the JavaScript is not refreshed? Sometimes if you change the response format, you need to stop and start the project again. Yeah. Okay. I want to use. I think I want to use the standard configure response set to disable. Still show as a list. Okay. I think this is the default. I forgot about this one already. So the default for the standard list is a list. Okay, I think I explained all for this the database. You can write your query for the create using post. Read, you can use the get method. Get categories to get all categories or get a single category. Okay. Okay, this is the read. This is create. CRU update is the put, and delete. So everything you need to write your own SQL query. Loop it, put it inside the map, and then the response object. You need to pass the map into the response object. Okay, if you confirm it is should be a list, like for example the get categories, then you need to pass to a response data. You add the map or object into a list, then this list will add to the response data instead of response object. So this one will be confirmed to return as a list. Okay, this one should be returned as a list of item. But for the single item, for this single item, for post, put, and delete all these single item, you can pass to a map using the response object. Okay, if it's a MySQL, then you need to close the database. But if a SQLite, then this one actually is not applied to SQLite. It won't close it. Okay, do not close the SQLite in this one, because for server-based application, every time you create a request. It is run in a multi-threaded way. Okay, so if you close it, it may affect other thread which is running. Then you already close the connection, then other thread cannot use the connection. So you cannot close the connection. Okay, so for MySQL, you use the pooling database or server pooling. Then you can close the connection. Okay, you can close the connection if the database connection is initialized. You can close it every time, or you should close it. Okay, when you finish using it. Okay, we finish with the SQLite. How about I show? We try to connect to the MySQL. Okay, so now delete this SQLite database. It's still okay. Delete this demo. Now we try to connect to our MySQL database. Okay, when you choose this MySQL from the build configuration, this is a build configuration. You will notice that in this one on top, the MySQL connector Java, this one is selected. Make sure you have this connected version correct. You download from the internet, then you use the correct version. Okay, I'm using this version. If you have newer version, you can change the version number over here. Okay, I use this Laragon for local Windows local development. Okay, I click this elephant and then you start my MySQL database. I use this adminer. It's a PHP running on the Apache server. It's a PHP application. Okay, let's say I have this API. Do I have demo? Okay, let's say I delete all this web API. Okay, I don't want this. But let's say we create demo, a database name demo. So from here, I need to comment this one and enable this setting. Okay, save it. Let's say the database name is demo. This one is demo. Okay, make sure both are the same demo. The root and the password, the username and the password is correct. My password is password. Okay, you can change to your own database password, your root admin password. Okay, save it. Now we try to see whether we can use this MySQL. Okay, we run the project. Refresh. Currently we don't have demo. Okay, once you run, you can check the log over here. First is it cannot found the MySQL database. Okay, MySQL database not found. Okay, then it create the database. After that, the database successfully created. Then if you reinitialize the database again, the connection, then now we can refresh and we see this there is a new database. Okay, the structure is the same, so it can support the client. Okay, it's having hardwares and toys also, and the column created date. Okay, now we refresh. See, the same data is here. Okay, we change this toy. Okay, sometimes it's not working. We need to refresh. We change the. Let's say we try to change the Optimus Prime to this one with one emoji. Update. Okay, it's updated over here. Then we check our SQL admin. Then you see the value is updated over here. Okay, the query is the same inside here. The SQL query is same for SQLite and MySQL. So even though we change the database type, the template, the application is still reading the same data. But if we try to create new item, let's say we create a new product, hardware, what kind of hardware we have? Let's say barcode scanner, 555. Okay, if we create the new hardware, we need to know what is the new ID. Okay, if we go to here, we use the post, we need to get the last insert ID. But the last insert ID, okay, let's say we go to post, we need to query the last insert ID after we insert the data. Okay, after we insert the data, we need to know, because in SQLite, to query the last insert ID is like this, but for the MySQL is different. Okay, if SQLite is this, select last insert row ID, but in MySQL, the query is select last insert underscore ID. Okay, so they are different. So you need to handle this differently. Okay, or you can also do like this. I think. Not sure whether we can do main dot data. Be connector last insert. Okay, or you can do like this. You don't need this. This will return the correct query for you. Then you can pass this query into the execute query single result and then pass the new ID to the execute query. Then you pass the new created row to the response. Okay, and output the correct object. Okay, for example, this one is the new item I want to create. Okay, unexpected end of JSON. Can check the error. What is the error? Error category ID for column integer value. Okay, category ID cannot be string. So yeah, let's say 2, category 2. Or product price. Product price, I also make some changes. I need to save this first. Okay, the price also cannot have string. So what is the price? 0. Say submit. Okay, so you see the ID, I need to get the latest last insert ID and query the maximum ID to query the data. So you see the product, the new item is called product code and the product name is product name. So we can use this method to query our new data. Okay, so that's all. I think I have demonstrated to you how we can use this web API template to connect to the minimalist if you don't want to use SQLite or any database system. You can use the minimalist or you can use the SQLite, very compact database without any server. And then you can also use the server-based MySQL database. Okay. So now this template can support two or three different type of database that you can use to develop your web API. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask me in the forum or maybe in the coming future next week, I will see you again. Okay, if no question, then I'll go offline. Thank you for joining me tonight. Okay, bye.